has a chance, and there won't be more than so many teams that we can't judge them all fairly. Over there.
Seems that these tasks that these rovers are supposed to accomplish are largely practical tasks versus the almost exclusively science tasks that the JPL rovers are designed to accomplish. For future Mars rovers, is there any kind of a pipeline to bring information about the practical applications to NASA and JPL for future rover design?
Some, I mean, they get to see these things. These videos are posted. This video you just saw is on YouTube. So people can watch it and they can say, oh, that's an interesting kind of mechanism there. We can try that.
Has there been any interest by NASA?
But the other thing is, a lot of the young people who do these contests end up in NASA and take their skills and their insights there. And that, by the way, is also true of the Desert Station program more broadly, is that people who go through the Desert Station program, many of them end up in NASA or in universities or industries that do contracts for NASA. And then they have some insight to what might actually be useful on Mars. And so forth.
How's our relationship with the people of Hanksville? There's not that many of them.
Oh, it's quite good. No, well, frankly, first of all, they like our business. Okay, because otherwise Hanksville is pretty sleepy economic. And so it definitely warms their hearts and book up their hotels and fill their restaurants. And and so forth. But also they like it. They like having Hanksville as a way of doing something important. The Mars Desert Research Station program has been featured in a number of Utah magazines and so forth, and given prominent coverage by the state. We're actually on state land, and so the state agency that oversees the land has been very proud of the fact that they've been able to put it to this kind of use. And by the way, they should be, because it would be almost impossible to put this station on BLM. Okay. So by the fact that they are reasonable and have worked with us, and together we've made sure there's been no trashing or environmental impact. We've been very good environmental citizens there, but they've worked with us and we have worked with them, and this project has been successful as a result of their practical attitude. So they can take pride in it.
And also in the experience of the water company that have a lot of robots working on very deep sea, could be used to apply for this kind of equipment and
well, undersea robots, some of them are quite sophisticated, and I know NASA people like Harold Stoker have used undersea robots, which they may have gotten from the oil industry, or maybe been built by the same people who built them for the oil industry, to examine robotics and applications. Of course, the underwater environment as such is very different from a land environment like this, but there are certain aspects of the challenges involved in those things that are similar, and NASA has attempted to learn from them. Other questions? Over there.
Yeah, I've just kind of had it back in mind for a while, like the Boston Dynamics big dog robots, quadruped. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
I'm not. What's the chief characteristic of it?
Well, it's
it
already
big?
done in the field of the military. It's essentially just a big pack mule robot for troops on the ground. But it seems like it would be incredible. It's very, very good at negotiating all sorts of terrain better than a wheel robot.
What's its function? You saying is its function to be a pack mule to carry someone's gear?
Yeah, I mean, I think it has other equipment on it, communication equipment, guns, but also its primary function is just.
It's the size of a large cow.
Yeah,
It looks like a cow and it carries cargo.
Yeah, it's hundreds of pounds, a lot of weight.
And has it actually found practical application, or is it an experiment? Okay, see, I'll tell you, we looked, okay, this is a challenging thing, and I'm not sure this is going to work out in a practical way for them, and I'll tell you why. Now, it could be they have much better robots, but we had a NASA group bring out to the HAB, and this is, by the way, illustrative of the value of the Mars Desert Research Station. A NASA group brought out what was called a robotic llama. Okay, similar to a Pac-Man, a little smaller, perhaps. Okay, but you know, as you know, many backpackers nowadays like the idea of having a llama along. You can put your backpack on it, so instead of you hiking with the back on your back, your llama follows you with the pack, and it's very useful. It's small and minimal, but perhaps easier to manage. Do what needs to be done. So the NASA people thought that a similar thing might work well on Mars, that the astronauts, if they're walking along, they should have a llama to carry their gear in a similar fashion that would have similar utility. And so it's plausible, but what we found out when we brought it to the desert was that it was not practical, because it in fact it moved slower than someone walking and much slower than someone driving on an all-terrain vehicle. Okay, so I mean the moral of the story is if you're a cavalry, you don't want llamas. Okay, and if your idea of mobility is people walking, then a llama might be a good answer. But if your people are motorized, okay, if they're moving fast, this robot can't keep up, not remotely, and it actually greatly slows them down. And so what was more practical, frankly, if you had extra gear, was putting it in the back of the ATV or putting it in a trailer towed by the ATV. And I mean, that was far more practical. So this is an example of the utility of Mars analog work for engineering, because before you go and spend $3 billion developing a robotic llama, you want to know that that is what you really want, as opposed to an all-terrain type vehicle designed for Mars environment with a small trailer. In other words, in engineering, really the most important step is defining the requirements. It's more important, I mean, it's important to design things right, but it's even more important to design the right thing. And what the analog work allows us to do is find out what would be the right thing for us to then take to the next level of engineering design and make it viable for Mars. And, you know, U.S. infantry, I mean, were entirely motorized even in World War II. Okay? And if you're moving around in the back of a truck, you know, at 50 miles an hour, I mean, how's this llama going to keep up? Or this, whatever, the pack.
They call it the big dog.
The big dog. Okay. Now, my dog, Kepler, could keep up, but there's yet to build a robotic dog that can keep up with my dog.
I think you find that the big dog runs about 15 miles an hour.
15? Yeah, Kepler can do 50. He's a border collie.
Getting back to the robotic competition, if you're getting so many applications from all over the world, has there been any thought given to having regional competitions with the winners going to Hanksville?
Yes, and in fact, there is going to be one. In early September of this year is the first European Rover competition. So in conjunction with the European Mars Society contest, which will be in Kielce, Poland, which is a town near Krakow, in September 5th through 7th, there's going to be the first European rover competition. And I think it might be a good idea to have, in view of a lot of interest we're getting out in the Indian subcontinent, from India and also even Bangladesh, that perhaps having a rover contest in India might be a very good thing to do.
Is there an entry fee?
Yeah, there is, although I don't know off the top of my head what it is. But the entry fee is substantial. I mean, it's not massive, but it's enough to play a substantial role in helping to fund the contest. Other questions? Yes.
In the competition, is the person who made the rover going to drive the rover, or do they have a person who drives rovers to?
No, the team that makes the rover drives the rover. And rover driving is a skill. And so certainly you want your own people driving your own rover.
You want to know what your rover can do.
Yeah, and how to do it with it. You know, when I was in the Arctic in 2001, one member of our crew was Lieutenant Colonel John Blitch from DARPA, and he brought up a group of DARPA robots for us to test out and in various applications up there at the flashlight station. And it was very clear that certain crew members were far more adept at using the rovers than others. Order of magnitude more effective. So there really is a skill to this kind of thing. One of those rovers that we used up there in the summer of 2001 was subsequently destroyed during the rescue operations in the World Trade Center a month later. So, go figure. Yes?
Question. I was just thinking about what Sean was saying about quadruped robots, that kind of thing. Are the current guidelines such that they permit leg robots, or do you?
I believe so, yes, but I think that the wheels have, in general, been found to be preferable.
I don't question that. I'm just saying that.
No, I think legs and treads are all allowed, but it's for the same reason that in general most vehicles are wheeled. They're more popular on Mars too. Other questions?